everyone! It's me, Woat, here on Randomizer 2, and with me in the booth tonight, we have, you guessed it, Woat. How you doing, Woat? I'm doing perfectly fine, and have we got a match tonight? Russian Bishop versus DevioXS. Both fairly, not very well-known runners, but both of them definitely going to make things interesting. As you can see, they are running the exact same party. Fighter, Thief, Red Mage, Black Mage. So, yeah, this is going to be fun. Fingers crossed that we're going to have at least one White Mage locked spell that they really, really want, because that's always hilarious. Anyway, I promised these guys I'd go ahead and let them go as soon as we could, so let's let them go. So, here is what we are looking at tonight. These are Earth flags. For those of you who have been only kind of keeping up with things, that means we have an incentive location in Earth Cave that both of these runners are going to need to make their way to probably fairly early, because the incentive chest in Earth Cave is behind the vampire, which means you can pretty much get to it at any point. But let's see what we got going on in Magic. Lock 2, Quake, and Ice 2. That is a pretty solid black magic shop right there. And over here we have... Alright, that's good enough. That's Red Wizard and Night Locked Cure 4 for these parties. So, not ideal, but something you might want to pick up before heading to Temple of Fiends, if nothing else. Because, that'll keep you on your feet a little bit longer, especially if Life and Life 2 have landed somewhere unfortunate. Let's see here. Ooh, Cheap Chainmail. That's going to be really handy for both of these runners, because that'll at least give them two characters who are fairly well armored. Weapons are questionable at the best of times. And, okay, hi, expensive heal potions. And I think we saw Cure 3 in the second slot, so... yeah, this is going to be a very, healing light seed today. Or at least starting out, which is going to be important. Dang, I acknowledged Quake. I said Quake, Ice 2, and Lock 2. Like, there was a list of 3 things, and I called out all 3 of them. Stop ignoring me and claiming I'm ignoring things. But that's beside the point. The point we're working on here is that, that's spiders with Scorch. Not great. But Devio is able to reset around those, and is going to go look at what these 2 boxes up north are. But not before Russian Bishop gets a face full of Scorch as well. That ice armor is nice, as is that canal. So, hi Rojo! Glad you could join us immediately after your race. The results of which I will not mention live, mostly because I don't know them. Anyway, Devio is the first of our runners to get through Garland, and, now let's find out what the King and the Princess have in store, but first, we are going to see a group of imps and a werewolf attempt to avenge Garland. But hey, that's free experience right there, and that's going to get Devio his 3rd level, which is nice. Alright, Thor's Hammer and a Crown. That's certainly a start. I mean, okay, the Thor Hammer is actually really nice this early because, yeah, that's basically free firepower, and with the kind of crappy weapon start, that's something you like to see. It'll give you plenty to work with moving forward. As far as where we're going next, if both these runners aren't heading to Provoca, I'm not going to have anything really to say on that, because I won't know what to say. Okay, yeah, no, that's a lie. I will find something to say. You people know me too well. But yeah. So, let's see here. Yeah, Devio making a beeline to Provoka, not even going to go swing up to Matoya to look in her boxes to see if she has a little extra money. But, let's see here. Oh, he is going straight over to the pirates, probably hoping that there is some sort of progression that does not require him to hike all the way to Northwest Castle right now. If only because, while Astos is generally free when you randomize enemy behavior, at these levels, with the equipment and spells we've got, he is not free, but hey, remember how I said at the beginning of this, you know, we're probably going to see Earth early? I think because the pirate just basically told us, Yar matey, ye be heading to Earth Cave sooner rather than later. But yeah, no, those 100 gil heal potions, along with, like, all the healing magic we've seen so far being White Mage locked, definitely inconvenient. Definitely not something we want to see. Let's see, I saw Cure 2 and not much else in White Magic. I think I saw an X-Fur maybe, but hello, Nuke, Fast and Quad X. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing there at level 2 magic, because on the one hand, low-level Nuke. On the other hand, low-level Nuke eating up your fast slots. Not a great combination. Let's get another look at this white magic. Okay, we're not going to get another look at this white magic, as xRussianbishop misses the, white magic shop and just decides to keep moving. I don't, you know, complain about the hustle, except when I really wanted to know what was in that white magic shop. Yeah, he's good. No, okay, he remembers. Let's get another look-see here. Okay, yeah. X-Fur and Cure 2 are the only things of note. I would be tempted to maybe throw that Cure 2 on the Red Mage, just because we don't really have many other healing options right now. Like, with 10 heal pots being 1,000 gil, we're gonna be in the mid-game before we really have much healing there, but... See, it's one of those things, Cyrodius, like, yeah, the whole philosophy of just nuke everything is a very compelling one. It's still one of those things where, I don't know, I'm fairly conservative when it comes to healing, and it's just like, yeah, on the one hand, I would like to kill things, but on the other hand, I would like my Thief and my Black Mage to live for more than 2 battles. Also, those nuke charges are already going to be at a premium, because like I said, they're sharing room with Fast, if nothing else. Like, not even to speak of Quad X. So, I don't know. There's a reason I'm not racing. But yeah, so... Oh, hi Loose Herb. How are you doing today? I'm doing quite well, Woat. How are you doing? I'm doing alright. Just kind of here with Woat, but, you know, he's not really saying much. He's kind of just letting me handle things. And... let's see here. I am just going to continue going on with things. Someone has snuck into the booth, but he really needs to get out of the booth because I just told him that I'm fine and don't really need company in the booth. There we go. Thank you very much for swinging in, though. Anyway, where were we? Right. We have an herb. We found some money in Matoya, but we are going to go ahead and keep moving. Let's see here. Yeah, Devios is doing a pop grind. I think he just finished it up. Let's see. And, mouth noises while we wait for things to happen. Alright, here we go. Things are happening now. we are heading down to Elfland. We're going to go ahead and turn in that herb and find out if this is going to give us something other than an early Earth Cave dive. Spoiler warning, it probably won't, because I am a cruel and terrible master. And, of course, the seed immediately proves me wrong. Alright, that's a canoe. So, the world is our oyster now. So, this is always an interesting situation to be in. Because that canoe basically opens up a whole host of locations. The only problem is surviving most of those locations. But, yeah, okay. Cyrinus, our restreamer, does bring him an interesting point. That, canoe does mean we now could be hunting for the floater all over the place, because we still have one loose item, and there's no telling where it is. Also, most of the magic in Elfland is trash. Just utter and complete garbage. So, let's review. Our nuke is competing with fast, which means that while that's going to be helpful for most of the seed, the one place you really, really want both of those spells to have as many shots as you can, Temple of Fiends, you're not. Like, I'm pretty sure you're basically saying, yeah, I have to hold about 4 of my level 2 shots in reserve, potentially. But yeah. So Russian Bishop probably is going to sail up to the river system up here to go check out what this crown has in store. Yep, there we go. Who knows, maybe this will be an early floater. And it's not. That's the adamant. Still worth a check, you're literally right here. And it's the cost of watching the bridge cutscene. And it'll also give you a chance to check the 2 boxes. So, you know, that canoe at least allows for some efficient routing here. Astos, as usual, being a pain in the butt to take out, but not too big a pain today. And that gets us level 6 for Russian Bishop, who proceeds to sit on Astos' throne and mock him, before continuing on his way. Yeah, no, we've got... Outside of Nuke, we really only have the level 2 spells for offense, but... I mean, at least Lit 2 is free, which is nice. So... Actually, is Russian Bishop not checking dwarves? Oh! Devios didn't go up to Matoya. He doesn't have the herb. I didn't even catch that. So... This is an interesting situation. Devios may not bother going to Matoya until he has the crystal, and that could lock him out of progression if the rod doesn't lead to anything. But in the meantime, well, we have the cube, but the cube doesn't really do much for us. Not without a chime, which we have not seen yet. So... In the meantime, Devios does take down Astos, gets that adamant, cannot just immediately go to pop it open because, well, like I said, he didn't have the herb, he doesn't have the canoe, he can't just walk up to dwarves like Russian Bishop did because we do not have the extended open progression on today. So, we'll see what happens. Also, I didn't see what cast mute, but, we're going to just run away from this now, because, that's not a situation you want to shoot at things in with the weapon situation we're looking at. Alright, white magic-wise, I believe that Life 2 is going to be Red Mage learnable, so they at least will have some safety in Topher. The problem we are going to run into is, level 5 is a good ways off. Well, level 5 magic is a good ways off, but fortunately, they've still got some time on that. Unfortunately, that also means they're only going to have one character who can cast any kind of life magic. And that's assuming that life is, you know... I mean, no matter what, life is inaccessible to the knight, because we know it's not in the first 3 levels of magic. Anyway. Bishop is heading back in. Where are you going? He may be thinking of taking the river system over to Crescent Lake Volcano Ice Cave area. Yeah, okay, he's going to Elfland. Is he thinking of a marsh dive? I hope he's not thinking of a marsh dive. That would be awful. Like, yeah, a marsh dive is sometimes needed if it's like, you know, marsh or nothing, but... Oh, he's going back for that silver sword. Okay. So, the weapon situation is nice. And, okay. This is a slightly better weapon situation for him now. He's got a silver sword, a couple of rapiers. Enough to where he can start doing work. So, let's see what he decides to do from here. Oh, did he ever check the item shop? He did not check the item shop. And the item shop has absolutely nothing of value that we didn't already pick up in Provoca, except more heal potions. Whatever. He's now got a healthy stock of heals, so that'll help somewhat. Devio, about, let's see, by my watch, about 2 minutes away from learning that he really should have gone to Vitoya first, but, I mean, it's not going to cost him too much time overall. And Russian Bishop gave us that lovely bridge cutscene, so we need to worry about Devio doing the same for us. Plus, he already did all those chores, so he can just go on his merry way and be happy about it. Let's see. Not sure where Russian Bishop's going. He could opt to go ahead and hit up Earth. He's got a lot of firepower. I'm not necessarily sure he's got the defensive capabilities needed to deal with an early Earth dive, but if turn order is in his favor, he definitely has the firepower to at least get down to the incentive chest. But we shall see on that. Based on how he was moving right before this fight, I think he might be going to Crescent first. Maybe in the hopes that the sages will provide him with a floater, and he immediately makes a liar out of me. Unless he's just saving here and then he's leaving, in which case I had the big brain. Okay, yeah, I know he's making a liar out of me. Thanks a lot. But, you know, again, it is one of those things. With these flags, that Earth chest is a fairly high priority target just because almost any progression can be there, because once you have the canal, that chest is immediately accessible. But while we're waiting for him to start finding out more things, it's one of those things where, like, it's not that Nuke is a common low-level spell, it's that if you consider low level to be anything between 1 and 4, it's a 50-50 shot Nuke's gonna land in there. Like, it's just the nature of the beast. There's no real weighting to it, so any spell can be in the first 4 levels. So, you know, at least half the time, you should be seeing Nuke as a low-level spell. And yeah, our tracker, MG Weirdo, also makes an excellent point that Nuke really only can go down. Like, there's only a 1 in 8 shot that Nuke remains equal to or above its level, because there's no going up from where it starts. But yeah, I mean, it is one of those things. I actually tend to see a lot of, like, higher level nukes myself, but that's just kind of the luck of the draw. For every person who sees a high level nuke, there is someone who sees a low level nuke. Statistically. So Devio is opting to take the overland route to check the sages here at Crescent Lake. I'm not sure what he saw in the river, but he is opting to go through the Swamp of Sorrow. And asps apparently have stone poison. Thank you, chat. And to address the question, chat, no, I did not do math on Twitch. I did arithmetic. There's a difference. But, yeah, so Devio does very clearly wanted to avoid the rivers. I am not entirely sure what he saw that convinced him to do that. the route he is taking, incidentally, if you are going from Elfland and have the floater, that is the fastest way to get to the airship. It's not quite the fastest way to get to Crescent Lake, I'm pretty sure. However, if you are trying to avoid river fights, not the worst decision you could make. On the bright side, at least we don't have to worry about runners skipping chests because they don't want to deal with the Earth Elemental tile. Mad Ponies. Not nearly as dangerous as our, whatchamacallit, Might Nightmares. Devio does, however, see some very cheap pro rings. I think it was like 8,000 Oh, 4.5. Thank you, Cyrenus. Yeah, that is hilariously cheap for pro rings. That almost might be worth taking a few fights. But speaking of taking fights, that is a chime. We already have a cube. If we aren't seeing chants of sky in chat in a moment, yeah, there we go. There they are. Which with that low-level nuke, I wouldn't hate that move. Like, nuke does work in Sky, and Lit 2 can do a lot of mop-up duty in Sky, and we have both of those. So, Russian Bishop, in the meantime, has finished surveying the top floor of Earth, has decided nothing good can come of going to Earth early, either that, or has decided that, he needs more supplies. No idea which. But Devio is not going to be taking that chime bait right away. He is hitting the river system. And looks like he is... Okay, he thought about Ice Cave, but he's going to go to Volcano first. So... And yeah, we see that Russian Bishop is upgrading his kit. I mean, they sell the kind of stabby supplies that make life a little bit better. But yeah, Devio is going to go ahead and he's probably dip the top of Volcano. You have a high chest density up here. You have enemies that should be clearable with the spells you have. Because, yeah, we've got Ice 2, we've got Lit 2, we've got Nuke. There's enough firepower here to at least be able to check floor 2, slip out, save if you have a house, and then go back in if you want. Yeah. I mean, they don't sell the housey supplies that give you more nukes, but they do still have an inn. The vampire did forget to break that when he broke everything else. But it does look like Russian Bishop has decided that he has had enough of the Melman continent for one day, or at least has decided that he is going to stock up on goods, services, and armor. I was wondering if he was going to go ahead and buy that steel armor, but it doesn't look like he is. Steel is an interesting armor option. Because, yeah, it makes it so that you ain't dodging anything if you're wearing it, but it does give you the same defensive power as Ice or Fire, which, if your goal is just to be able to take punches and, you know, you'll just recover from touch attacks later, that's not the worst thing that can happen. Oh! Hi, R-Hydra that's unrunnable. I believe that means that the R-Hydras on the Bridge of Destiny will also be unrunnable, and that makes me happy. Because I like when R-Hydras happen. And who is sticking their nose in here now? Not sure. But, okay. I am not sure, but, I mean, it's one of those things, I feel like a third wote would just... Like, okay, you can have two wotes because that's an I and an I, but, yeah. Regardless, we have Devio trying to, continue to dig out Volcano. Didn't really see anything in there. And Russian Bishop heading back to Earth Cave now that he's gotten some armor, picked up some items. I think he's going to commit to finishing up Earth right here and now. In the meantime, yeah, just to address the question in chat, they did draft this according to them. I don't know how exactly they went about arranging it, but whatever they did, they decided they were going to run the same party, and this is the party comp they went with. So, Fighter Thief, Red Mage, Black Mage. You know, your standard, either we kill it or we run away from it, and we do not bother with endurance matches. Those are for chumps. And the Grey Worm tile tonight, not bad. Those Dark Elf sprites usually carry a pretty hefty sum of good things with it. And an Ice Sword to go with. That is very nice to see, because, that's... In my book, that's what I kind of consider the lowest possible, what should we call it? Endgame sword. That's the word I wanted. Thanks to my co-commentator for not chiming in, and did werewolves have quad X? Because I kind of glanced over, and I saw quad X's happening, and that looked like a bunch of werewolves, and when you see that many people dead in one encounter, that usually means something had a lot of quad X to throw around. So, yeah. Anyway, Devio at least gets out with the goods from the top of Volcano, and that's heading back in. Alright, so we may have both of these runners going ahead and tackling dungeon clears. Okay. Thank you, Augusta Aquila, for clearing that up. Winterwolves had Cremate, and it was the Gerwolves who had Quad X. It's not great. It's not great. Well, okay, actually, no. Okay, no, I was Werewolves with Cremate and Gerwolves with Quad X. Alright, I think I got it now. Because, yeah, WR is for Werewolf. Winterwolves are something different. Those are FR Wolves, Frost Wolves. Because winter is made of frost. Well, that comment made no sense. Yeah, I know it didn't make any sense. Shut up. Anyway, Russian Bishop continuing to penetrate into the depths of the earth, while Devios, contrary to my original theory, is not currently attempting a further dive in Volcano. He is just going to go ahead and grind on these fighters until he runs out of firepower. And yeah, we do apparently have a ribbon found here in Volcano, or Earth Cave. It was found in Earth Cave. Yeah, Earth 2. So, there we go. Alright. So we know these Gerwolves are dangerous, but fortunately, Gerwolves tend to only have, like, 100 to 150 health, I believe, is usually where they wind up landing when I play. So, this shouldn't be too bad. So, let's see here. Alright, Devios attempted to Dan the Thief, it looked like, but it just didn't work because he is already powerful. So he is going to go ahead and walk these levels out, probably go ahead and burn a house, and hi, Sun Sword! Good to see you. We are definitely capable, we definitely have some in-game firepower now. With that fast, Tempers available, and a Sun Sword, that should get some work done. On the downside, here's another set. Okay, no, it was the werewolves that had Quad X. Alright. Glad we could get that cleared up. But, we are going to hopefully get away from them, because I'm sure Russian Bishop would really like to not have to come back down through Earth a third time, even if he doesn't know where all the good stuff is. Downside, the werewolves also have trance. So, this isn't great. This is not very good right now. I mean, he does have the ribbon on that red mage. The downside is that that red mage cannot move and is dead. So, Russian Bishop may be deciding, you know what, I'll come back later. The goodies down here are not worth the trouble. But yeah, Trance, Cremate, and Quad X are not a combination of abilities you want to see in an encounter, let alone on one particular enemy. So, we'll deal with it. Alright, so let's see here. Devio has made the trip back to Crescent Lake, has now decked out his entire party with pro rings. So that's at least one advantage he'll have when he does get around to Earth, is that Quad X is no longer a threat. And that life is inaccessible to red wizards. Fortunately though, A-Rub, Fog2, and Exit are all red wizard learnable, so that... Pink-haired lady not wanting to let Devio get over here. Yeah. So at least at level 6, the path for what to put on that red wizard is pretty clear. Alright, so let's see what he decides to do now. He has geared back up, picked up more potions, gotten his party some nice absorb, some good death resistance. He could opt to continue diving Volcano, or he may say, you know what, I want to see this incentive location up north. And yeah, he is going to go back to Volcano. I can't imagine he's going to want to grind anymore. He has more than sufficient technology to deal with the problems of Volcano. About the only thing he's really hurting for is armor on that fighter, but even then, with the amount of health that he already has, he doesn't need armor. His armor is the ability to take a punch, and he can take a lot of punches. So, I imagine this is going to be a trip into the deeper part of Volcano, and hopefully an orb getting lit before the 40-minute mark. Oh yeah, no, he is heading straight down, so... We'll see a full clear of Agma for, because we know that there is still a loose item available. Russian Bishop, on the other hand, is back in Earth. I didn't see what he did to... Oh yeah, the asps have stone poison. I forgot about that. Okay, now he's leaving Earth. So, what have we learned today, class? Earth is terrible, Mr. Wout! Right! But what do we also learn today? Earth is full of good things that you really want! And what does that mean for us, class? It means that Earth is extra terrible because the temptation to keep trying is there. And what's the most important lesson, class? Never try! Correct. Anyway, there's the slab. So... Bad news, Marsh fans. We're not going to Marsh. We have our 2 loose items. There is nothing worth going to Marsh for. Not even the Maza. The plot twist, of course, being that probably both of our ribbons are hiding in Marsh. Just not going to Marsh. It's not worth it. Devio is still going to keep looking in boxes, though, because, he probably wants a ribbon. I wouldn't blame him for wanting a ribbon. And the only river we know of is currently sealed at the bottom of terrible places. And he is rewarded at least with an upgrade for his Red Mage. In terms of being able to hit things even harder. Decides not to take this fighter fight. I don't blame him. It will probably take a while, and he has better things to do with his magic. Mostly killing Carrie. Okay, and in the next box we find an upgrade for the Thief, so everyone's rocking good weapons now. That's nice. You like to see it. I only got to see one box get opened, so hopefully that won't come back to bite us. By which I mean, hopefully we aren't going to turn around and just be like, huh, when did Devio pick up 2 ribbons? Okay. Thank you, MG Weirdo, for letting us know that the boxes were meh. It is appreciated. Shout out to the tracker, everyone, because it's nice to have someone with extra eyes. And hey, there's the Grey Worm. Good to see you, buddy. You're not nearly as useful as you could be, but that's okay, because, no one likes you anyway. That was a bit mean. I'm sorry, Grey Worm. Anywho, so Russian Bishop is over here in Crescent Lake. He is going to find his chime, and maybe he'll make the decision of, well, I know Earth is terrible, and, I don't feel like growing up the river. That seems like a massive workout, and quite frankly, you know, the only member of my party who can really handle all that rowing is the fighter, and my fighter's got better things to do with his arm strength than continuously row. So I am going to go over to the Castle of Ordeals, or maybe even Mirage Tower. I actually think that's what xRussian Bishop sounds like, but there you go. That's my xRussian Bishop voice for at least the next hour and a half. And I'm estimating that this seed is probably going to take close to 2 hours, because have you seen it so far? Alright. Anyway, we are going to go ahead and try and deal with one of our fiends. Carrie, Fiend of Fire, Queen of punching things multiple times, including herself if you have confusion. And yes, this is a Woat Seed. I did roll this, so I only have myself to blame if I'm sitting here for a while. And we did find the second loose Cyranus. It was a slab in Volcano. Ladies and gentlemen, our restreamer, not even watching his own stream. So, Carrie. Carrie is happening. Carrie has fast. We have fast. There is a lot of punches that are about to happen. It is going to be unpleasant for all involved parties. Carrie holds a red mage. Our fighter hits for like 116. Our nuke hits for like 334. And Carrie is dead. Long live Carrie! So, MG, I would point out that progression can also be hiding at Ordeals. Or Waterfall. Because we do have the canoe, and so those are also incentive locations that are options. Oh yeah, Ice Cave! Yeah, no, we've still got plenty of progression to hunt for. We also have XP to hunt for. Hi, T-Rex! And yeah, Russian Bishop opting to go ahead and hit the desert. I was so focused on the Fiend battle, I didn't even notice him heading this way. This is why you don't let a one-eyed man, you know, watch two people do things. He tends to not see everything he could. Anyway, we are going to microwave ourselves a steak. Not necessarily recommended by most people who are into stakes, but wow, Russian Bishop. Not nearly as many levels as DevioXS. I kind of thought that was the case because I didn't see him doing any grinding, but yeah, I didn't realize how far behind he was in terms of experience. I mean, it doesn't matter too much. He will catch up very quickly with those nukes in hand, but he might be better off just going inside the Mirage Tower instead of trying to fight things out here. Just because you're gonna get more bang for your nuke doing it that way. Also, because most of the things in this desert, if memory serves, have pretty solid M-def, so those nukes are not going to hit as hard as stuff inside. Also, mummies have heal too, so who likes having their time wasted watching 9 spell animations repeat over and over again? No one. The answer is no one. And I say this as someone who really, really enjoys how Animal Crossing New Horizons makes everything really slow. Because I like funny animals making noises. It's very, very relaxing. And I don't even find watching the mummies heal to themselves relaxing. So, yeah, if you're that person who does enjoy watching the enemies cast group spells on themselves, please stop. You're just hurting yourself and others. Alright. So, we are now in the part of Ice Cave that people actually like, because it's the part where you start getting nice things. And yeah, Russian Bishop heading inside, finally picking up the good experience inside Mirage. And yeah, so chat pointing out, Russian Bishop does apparently prefer to use his spells up in the overworld. And that's not a bad policy in general if you have a good grind. The only problem is the desert is a mix of good fights like Tyros and T-Rexes and bad fights like Ankylos. And at the end of the day, if you want to burn up all of your spells before hitting deep depth in a dungeon, just go inside the Mirage Tower and run around inside the Mirage Tower and then leave the Mirage Tower. There is no reason to take fights in that desert unless you are encounter manipulating specifically to get your hands on like a T-Rex right off the power cycle or something. Like, the value is just not there in the desert. So, that's your tip of the day. And I'm sure that someone who is better at this game will be like, actually, Woat, the desert is full of wonders that you're not even taking into account. And I'll be like, shut up, Cheesinator. And then Cheesinator will be like, hi, I'm now going to throw math at you. And I'm going to be like, dang it, you threw math at me and I can't refute it because it's full of numbers. And then it'll be a thing. I hope he's still here, because I'm gonna feel awkward if I just, like, did all of that and he's not actually in the room. So... I don't think sandworms even pop up in the Mirage Desert. I think they're only over by, Castle Ordeals. Like, the Mirage Desert is just full of things that hurt you. And nothing else. Speaking of things that hurt you, Ice Cave. So, Devio did at least find some flame armor down here, which is going to be real nice for basically everything. The giant sword is just a step too late to actually be of use to him. It's better than most of the weapons that you can find, but a little bit worse than the flame sword. I think in terms of where it falls on the scale of power, giant around the same level as a light axe. So, a good weapon if you don't have something better, but also something that you're likely to find something better than unless the seed is just mean. Russian Bishop, on the other hand, really has only found a black shirt here in the Mirage Tower, and a lot of money. Otherwise, not much worth. So, yeah. Devio did at least, though, get his hands on Oxyale. So that opens up Sea Shrine. Not that Sea Shrine has much of value. And I guess it is also worth pointing out, right now, Devio is the only one of our two runners who knows that he doesn't need to necessarily open a lot of boxes. Russian Bishop hasn't been to Volcano, and without going to Volcano, you can't really, well, you can't know the other loose item is the slab because it's loose in Volcano. So, Russian Bishop, the longer he puts off that Volcano check, the more likely he is to run into trouble if, say, he goes to Ice Cave and finds that Oxyale and decides, aha! I will go to the Sea Shrine and dig out the mermaid side, because that's a whole lot of chests, and one of those chests will probably have my answer. And the answer will actually probably turn out to be, I mean, there was a ribbon here. And that is the end of the tale of what was probably in Sea Shrine. So, we'll see what happens. I suspect, though, what will actually go down is Russian Bishop will get out of here, house up, and he's feeling bold. He might go ahead and go up to the actual floating fortress because we have the cube, and he's got the levels now to make... Yeah, he can make it through Floating Fortress. He might not necessarily have the weapons he would want for that, but there's a good chance he'll find something useful up there. Alternatively, yeah, okay. I was gonna say, alternatively, he may decide, alright, this is enough of this, I need to go hit incentive locations and make a trip over to the Castle of Ordeals. Since he doesn't have that Oxyale that Devio does, Waterfall is also an option, but until we find that floater, it's not a great choice. Also just wonder if Devio does know he can take the river over, but that's a question for the post-game. Weirdo, write down that that's a question for the post-game, because I'm going to forget. See, folks, this is using your trackers wisely. Oh, a question for the post-game. Is Devio aware that he can take the river from Crescent Lake to the Elfland area? So, as a little behind-the-scenes glance for the folks watching at home, MG Weirdo has now written down in Notes channel, quote, "That's a question for the post-game." End quote. Okay, he actually wrote down the actual question too, but there you go, folks. I'm surrounded by helpfulness. Alright, so Russian Bishop has landed at the Castle of Ordeals. He is going to begin to navigate this pillar maze without warp. And we know this because we haven't seen warp yet. Which means that warp is almost certainly either at on-rack or locked behind the floater. Anyway. So, Devio picking up his spells from Elfland, and we'll see what his next move is, because he hasn't actually, like, left the Inner Sea yet. Well, okay. Technically he has, but he has... Okay. Start this over. If you are in Lebanon, you are still, like, on the Mediterranean. If you are in Iraq, yes, you are no longer on the Mediterranean, but you're close enough to where if I say, oh yeah, you haven't really left the Mediterranean area yet, that's fair enough. And considering that Ice Cave is kind of like... Yeah, that's kind of like Iraq, Iran, somewhere around there. If you take the inner sea to be the Mediterranean. Whatever. Point being, Devio is just now getting to Melmond. So, the good news is he's going to be buying a lot less stuff here because he already has a lot of the things that you would really want in Melmond. But yeah, if you're learning this game and want some ideas on how to navigate the inner sea, just think of it as the Mediterranean. Canary is in Italy. Elfland is like, I want to say that's like around Tripoli, somewhere in that area. Northwest Castle is in Spain. Marsh Cave is like maybe Ghana, somewhere in the neighborhood. Provoca's over in Israel. Ice Cave is like Iraq or maybe northern Saudi Arabia. Volcano is definitely in Saudi Arabia. Crescent Lake is getting down toward the boot of Saudi Arabia. It kind of breaks down over on the east side, but just trust me on this. This incredibly bad metaphor is only going to get worse. Oh, and Matoya is in Germany. I forgot about that. And the Temple of Fiends is in France. Okay, we're done here. We're done here. Devio's having a much better time in Earth Cave because he actually has levels. Russian Bishop is lost in a maze of pillars. Getting back on track. Look, I remember things by remembering them in incredibly stupid, dumb, stupid ways. I remember it because it's so stupid, how can you forget it? Whatever. Everyone's a critic. Also, I'm pretty sure that means that Melmond is like New York City, and Earth Cave is like Atlanta. Which means that Titan's Tunnel connects Chicago to Las Vegas, and then Sarda's retired in Phoenix. There. The entire southern continent mapped onto our world. You're welcome. Anyway, mummies, I think, got first action, and since they heal 2 first, we'll check back on Russian Bishop in about a minute. When he actually gets to do something. I mean, in all fairness, MG, you know, there was no reason for him to do that. I can't defend him going back for that chest. He is at least skipping that chest that he has to fight something for. Okay, there we go. Russian Bishop finally got to do something, and that something is obliterating the mummies with extreme prejudice. He's at least going to get some XP and gold for his trouble, so, you know, it wasn't a complete waste of his time. Speaking of wastes of time, though, hi, Vampire. And bye, Vampire. And there is our TNT, and there is our opal bracelet. So... good news, bad news time for Russian Bishop. Good news is, he doesn't have to go to Earth Cave right away. Really, mummies? Really? So anyway, Devio continues into Earth Cave. We will check back with Russian Bishop when he actually gets to leave the Castle of Ordeals. Yeah, Devio is soon going to be confronting the Lich. Okay, chat? What the crap just happened? No, like, I was looking at Devio, and I look back, and Russian Bishop has died to that pack of mummies. And, oh my goodness, the mummies have nuke. Okay, thank you. Oh my god. This is the second seed I've commentated in a row where mummies are just the worst. That's horrible! Oh god, they're everywhere! Oh, because yeah, they're all over Waterfall. And Devio probably has dodged a bullet here in Earth Cave. Because they could have shown up here and could have horribly obliterated him and didn't. But yeah, mummies, they show up in Mirage. They show up in Earth Cave. They show up in Ordeals. They show up in Waterfall. They are not your friends at any point. I mean, the real problem with Vampire getting nuked isn't the one in Earth Cave. It's all of the ones in Mirage, Sky, and the air floor of Temple of Fiends Revisited. Those are the vampires you have to care about having nuke because they show up in packs. Shoutouts to Russian Bishop for showing us all of the awful, terrible, painful, mean things that this seed can do. Oh yeah, mummies also show up. How did Devios not get the nuke at any point? Like, this is now a question. He's been to most of the dungeons where mummies are all over the place. Also, did he not go turn in the TNT? An interesting call. I guess he's wanting to wait and see if he gets the key before he goes and does that. Which I don't necessarily, it's not the call I would make, but it is a call you can make. So, like, I can see why he's going to go ahead and make these key item checks elsewhere. It's just, you're right there, and you have a canoe, so it is a very fast check to make, and it's just this side of possible that Narek has the key that you would theoretically want. MG, go ahead and write that down too. For post-game questions that I'm going to forget to reference, but you know what? I have the power to ask someone to write these things down for me, so I'm going to abuse them. What? I don't think you actually have the power to do that. Shut up. But, it's one of those things I am curious why he didn't go and turn that TNT right away. And it may just... I'm also trying to figure out where he's trying to go right now. I think he's trying to find Ordeals and is a little bit lost on the geography of, where he is. And where he is Onrak Continent rather than, Mirage Continent. Alright, he has found his way. He is back on track. Alright. So he's going to go hit up Ordeals, and he is going to find his Opal Cheerio and possibly learn that mummies are awful and terrible and bad. And Russian Bishop, having done a grand tour of all of the bad things, is now going back to the first bad thing. So, right now we are kind of in an interesting place that you always run into in randomizers where both runners are doing things we've seen already. Which is always the hard part when you're doing commentary. Here's a little behind-the-scenes action for the folks at home. It's always hard to commentate when you already kind of know what's coming, unless something bad happens. Then you can talk about that, but then you're a bad person because you're wishing bad things on the runner so that you're not stuck in this big holding pattern. it's a thing. But, fortunately, Russian Bishop at least knows all of the bad things that can happen to him, and has kept his thieves' levels up so he can run away from all of the bad things. Actually, here's a question for everyone. Did Devio skip the chest that has the ribbon in it that Russian Bishop just got to? Because he kind of beelined through Earth because he'd already checked everything, and he did. I think he may have missed that ribbon. That could prove unfortunate, even with a 2-orb lead. Yeah, we'll have to. The next time he gets some equipment that he wants, some armor he wants to throw on, MG, Cyrinus, since I know you two are obligated to watch the stream with me, if one of you wants to, like, keep an eye peeled for that if I miss it, that would be fantastic. Chat, you can also play this game. People who are watching on YouTube, you cannot necessarily play this game, but don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell. There we go. And Mancats have Blizzard. That's not great. So yeah, we are going to see Russian Bishop grab that Sun Sword that he knows is there. So both of our runners at least have good weapons. That's an improvement. So okay. Russian Bishop is stuck in an unrunnable fight with oozes and arachnids. I don't think we've seen anything terrible from any of these, so this should hopefully go by quickly. And it goes by fairly quickly. Thank you, the ability to hit things with casting items. And, of course, the one time I'm looking away, Devios actually is checking his inventory. We should see his armor again in a minute, because he did just pick up an opal bracelet, so... Yep, no ribbon. Okay, so he skipped that ribbon chest in Earth. So that is one thing that Russian Bishop has going for him. Unfortunately, he is currently backtracking. Oh, no, okay. He is going to the one chest no one likes. Also, no, Shibato, you do have the right of it. It does not take much to confuse me right now. I am very much, easily confused by virtue of the fact that, well, mostly because my co-commentator is garbage. Hey! I love you, Woke. I love you too. However, hey! Anyway, my co-commentator is also easily baited, so that's two things we've got going right for us. Either way, Devio remembering to go check the Oasis, because we are still looking for our vendor key item, and our vendor key item is the crystal. So that should hopefully remind him that he needs to go turn in that TNT at some point. Eventually. Maybe. We are probably going to see Waterfall and Sea Shrine first. And yeah, that was a 50k crystal. If you're wondering what that's made out of, very, very high quality crystal. Like, just beautifully clear. Transparent. I was about to say translucent, but that's not as good as transparent. Alternatively, it's like a Palantir or something. I don't know. Look. Let's be real here. There's a good chance that that crystal's actually Matoya's eye. Like, just straight up. We could be having a Grey Witches situation with Matoya, where, like, You know, she only has the one eye with which she perceives the future. So, you know, Devio may have just stuck some old woman's eye in his bag and got on the road. We don't know. We can't know. Because this is an 8-bit video game. And they didn't bother to render exactly what the crystal is. And yes, I'm sure that later iterations of Final Fantasy I made it perfectly clear what the crystal is. But we're going to ignore that. You're welcome. Alright, so Russian Bishop's going to be opening more boxes in Earth because he does not know that Volcano is where his other loose item is. This could pay dividends, at least in the form of giving him, you know, better weapons to slap on things. Our tracker, meanwhile, claiming that other versions of Final Fantasy I are basically like Highlander, the Highlander franchise. And, yeah, I can't really argue with that. I cannot find an argument for it. I guess the question I then have is, so which version of Final Fantasy I is Highlander the source? Highlander 2 the source? So... was Highlander 2 the source, the second movie? I'm actually drawing a blank on that. Chat, help me out here. YouTube, that's the game you can play. Name all the Highlander films from memory. Alright, good job. You may now check your answers. We will not be providing the answers in chat. You have Wikipedia. Alright. So, Devio is at least going to loot the chests here on Sharknado floor, maybe going ahead and poking around to see what kinds of encounter... Oh, hi 9 bad men. Getting away from that. Okay, if you have the opportunity to watch the VOD on Twitch, I would recommend it just for chat's answers to the question of name all the Highlander films from memory. Because these are some fantastic responses, and... Alright, while my co-commentator takes a minute to collect himself, I'll pick up where he left off. Russian Bishop is currently continuing to claw his way through Earth Cave. Devio still checking encounter tiles. I'm not really sure he needs much more of a grind. He's already probably, if he's not in his high teens, low 20s, will get there just as a matter of course. But his efforts are rewarded. That is a white shirt. Woat, are you okay? Okay, I'm good. The white shirt is a wonderful pickup. Okay, would you mind telling the folks what the white shirt does? It casts Invis 2 for free. And why is that? I'm getting to that. Stop cutting me off. Okay, fine. You were cutting yourself off. Okay, I'm not gonna keep bickering with you. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Thank you. The white shirt casts Invis 2. Invis 2 it basically improves your character's evasion. Evasion caps at, I believe, something like 250, 255. The point being, 6 casts of the Invis shirt means, the white shirt means your party cannot be hit by physical attacks except on a crit. But the key thing there is your entire party. Basically, that white shirt increases the longevity of a party that's already going to be hurting for any kind of longevity. With only one character you can cast Life to, and Tier 4 locked behind Finding the Tail and the Floater, you are going to want that white shirt. That is a very good find for Devio. That kind of balances out the lack of a ribbon, but I guarantee you, he still wants to find a ribbon. Of course, he also wants a few other things, not the least of which is the floater. Especially because we haven't seen the loot or the key yet. And we know at least one of those has to be floater locked at this point. Well, actually no, they might still be available. Because we have 3 key item we have 3 incentive locations left to check. We have the robot in the waterfall, we have Matoya, and we have Narek the dwarf. So we could... Actually no, we still have the ruby too. That could be out there. So, really, we don't know what the situation is going to be looking like yet, because we have 3 locations that could lead to value. And Russian Bishop, also not going to go check the TNT right now. Okay, that's going to make it easier to remember to ask about the TNT stuff, because we can just ask both of them. Well, we might just only be able to ask Devio. Russian Bishop mentioned before the race he's feeling a little bit under the weather, so if he opts to not interview, that would be completely understandable. But hopefully Devio will at least be able to join us, and we can ask. But while I was talking about them not doing things, Devio did a thing. The Kraken is dead, and Devio has 3 orbs lit. With the option to go clear out air whenever he feels like it. But we're going to see Waterfall first, almost certainly, because he wants... he still needs the key and the loot to be able to actually, finish the game. So, we're going to need that. In the meantime, Russian Bishop finally going to Volcano. He is going to find his loot lab, and that is going to make his life a lot easier. And... Devio? Devio, you have a canoe, Okay, so anyway, we're not going to find out what the robot has right now. Devio has decided that he wants this orb lit. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone, let's get some bless RNGs in chat that Devio remembers he has to have the key to finish this game, and he's not in go mode. Because, yeah. And, for folks who are sitting here, thinking, man, I'd really like to start tracking things and or talking to myself like an idiot on the, stream. I got good news for you. We need people who can do those things, who want to do those things. And you know what? You can either go to FinalFantasyRandomizer.com, or you can follow the handy-dandy link in the chat if you're watching on Twitch. Join our Discord and sign up to do things like tracking, commentating, joining the group of people who continuously make fun of me for no real reason other than because it's very easy and it apparently doesn't hurt my feelings too much when you do it. Also, yeah, you can run seeds. We have those. We have a lot of those, actually. And some of them are even actually fun to play. You might want to learn very quickly what fun means to different people, because it's very easy to wind up playing something very not fun because you listen to a lunatic. Of which we have a surplus. Anyway. Where was I? Right. Russian Bishop is in Volcano. He is eventually going to find the slab. Devio is in Mirage Tower. He is eventually going to find out that he really, really needs that loot and that key. And yeah, I mean, that's something that, like, you sometimes have to kind of... Well, alright. It's something that's kind of... you have to keep in mind when you're playing Final Fantasy I Randomizer. I'm going to take a minute to hold forth on this. So incentive locations make the calculus of routing in Final Fantasy I Randomizer a very interesting proposition, because, you know, in a lot of games, you're either just checking everything because there's no real, you know, rationale to where things are placed. Or if there is, it's usually viewed as a easier or an impossible mode. Or an easier mode for there to be a rationale there. Got my wires crossed there. Whereas in Final Fantasy I, with the incentive location rule in place, which, you know, for those of you who don't know what incentive locations mean, maybe this is your first race, which, if that's the case, I am so sorry that this is where you started out. So sorry. But incentive locations in the randomizer basically means locations that have been identified by the community as memorable locations, either because in the vanilla game you get an important item from it, or it's at least not a chest that stands out. For example, the chest guarded by a red dragon, the volcano. That's the incentive location in the volcano, because it is a very easy location to explain to someone. I just did it. So if you need to tell someone the volcano incentive chest is blah blah blah, that's the easiest one to point to and say that. So incentive locations are basically incentive locations that are easy to call out. Incentive items are items that the community deems important enough to be worth, say, telling the randomizer, hey, put this somewhere important. So, you know, a ribbon, the Mazo. The items you actually need to finish the video game. That sort of thing. The power gauntlet. And so incentive items ultimately kind of guide your path through the game. The reason that incentive items matter in terms of routing is because not every incentive location is on the way. The waterfall being a great example of that. There is no reason to go to the waterfall cave if you're not checking the incentive item there. So the reason I went through that whole long rambling explanation where I forgot what I was saying about 3 times, is because the point I'm trying to make is, in most randomizers, your goal is generally just clear as many bosses as I can, as quickly as I can. If I have the things I need to get to bosses, we're good. In Final Fantasy I, that's not necessarily the case. Your priority is the incentive locations, because that's where the things you need to finish the game are. Yes, you also do need to kill the bosses, unless we turn that off. But you always have to check your incentive locations. Unless we turn that off too. In these flags, though, you have to check the incentive locations. This is the moral of the story. This is the bottom line. Check your incentives, people. Alright. So, while I was doing all of that, Devio barnstormed through the floating fortress, as one would expect. He's not really checking anything. He's on the Bridge of Destiny. He has hit a massive run. And he is only stopped by a group of heirs. I don't think he's going to hit another fight before Tiamat, so, I was about to say rest in peace Warmech, and then he immediately made a liar out of it. There you go, chat. I'm using my powers for good. My powers of constantly being wrong. And we have a beefy boy Warmech today that Devio is just going to run away from. I don't blame him. That was a Warmech that could take punches like a champ. And while Devio has some very good swords, he does not have very much in the way of actually being able to cause physical harm to Warmech swords. Anyway, here's Tiamat. I don't believe we have Bane or Brack, so this is just going to be oh no, we do have Bane. We're not going to use it, but we do have it. And that lack of ribbon comes into play as Devio gets a face full of blizzard. Hopefully he's just going to start trying to Bane, because Tiamat has a lot of M defense. And your best bet is probably going to be to just try and Bane her down. Especially if she has another group attack that's about to kill all of your mages. I don't know if that's going to happen, but we'll see. Okay. She didn't have a lot of HP. Everything worked out for the best. Anyway, Devio is about to light his... So we'll see if he realizes he needs to go back and check those incentive locations, or if we are about to have a bomb. Alright. So, Devio saves wisely, and let's see where he goes from here. So, Russian Bishop is fighting Carrie, is buffing his party, and is going to just lay into her with the newts. This should not take very long. And Carrie's dead. Okay, like I said, this shouldn't take very long. And in the middle of all of that, I think I missed Russian Bishop killing Lich, which, to be fair, was Lich. Anyway, he's got 2 orbs lit. Really needs to get over to Ice Cave so that he has his Oxyale. But let's see where Devio heads from here. So, for those of you who are wondering what it is like to solo commentate, basically, there are points where you just kind of go into this trance and you make words happen, and then you come out of the trance and you suddenly have this moment of like, what have I been doing for the last 10 minutes? And the answer is, I don't know. I would have to go back and watch the VOD to tell you. So he is at least going to turn the crystal, so he hopefully remembers he still needs, like, the loot, the key, and so on to actually get into the Temple of Fiends Revisited. But yeah, skipping that waterfall is probably going to come back to bite him. But yeah, so, apologies for the people who are watching this back later, including Devio, Russian Bishop, for just, like, going on autopilot and just kind of talking about what y'all are doing while not actually consciously realizing what you're doing. So, Float are luckily at Matoya, so hopefully this will guide Devio to go back and do that waterfall check, among other things. Because I do remember he didn't do waterfall. And y'all keep affirming he didn't do waterfall, so that means that we probably are all collectively right here. So yeah. I don't even know if he's actually gotten the slab translated. No, he does have the slab translated. I can see that on the tracker. Unless Weirdo is lying to me. Which is just this side of possible because he keeps threatening to lie to me. But at an hour and 22 minutes, we finally have an airship. With all 4 orbs lit. So, this is definitely... And for a moment by flying right past Topher. But what are you gonna do? Alright. So he is going to go loot boxes here in Cardia, probably wanting that ribbon. And if you're going to look for a ribbon, this is one of the best places to do it because outside of a few potential fights, walking from the airship to your to the actual holes on the islands, you're unlikely to actually get into an encounter. But, I mean, except on Swamp Island, but whatever. It's just a worm. It can't do anything. Devio runs away. Russian Bishop continues to plunge into the depths of Ice Cave. He is up to the part that people actually care about. And Devio finds nothing in the Swamp Island. And now let's find out what's on Plains Island. An Excalibur, he doesn't have a tail. The second katana, he doesn't have the tail. But he is going to walk those out. And immediately gets jumped by a pair of worms. And he is going back to Waterfall, it looks like. So... that was a routing choice I'm not sure I'm a fan of, but... what are you gonna do? Yeah, no, he has not turned in the TNT. I am not entirely sure why you wouldn't do that unless you were just expecting that either TNT is garbage or that you're going to find the key at some point. Neither of which is a really safe assumption right now. If only because he still needs both key and loot. And so you cannot assume... well, okay, and here's the other thing. He has the Thor hammer, he has the opal bracelet. Even if you assume that your progression is not at TNT, that's still the power gauntlet. You want that. You especially want that when your best weapon right now is a sun sword and you have no idea where the tail is. But he does at least seem to realize that he still needs key items to get into Topher, so that's good. And yeah, that's true, he does have access to Sarda. Spoiler warning, I always forget to check Sarda. Like, no, straight up, this is one of my weaknesses as a runner, is, I am very bad at remembering to check Sarda when I have airship. It's a problem. Anyway, Devio just murdered like 7 sorcerers for like almost 3,000 XP. That's real nice. Alright, so there's the key. Hopefully that reminds him that he needs to go turn in that TNT because it very well might have the loot. But yeah. So, where are we going from here? Russian Bishop making the second pass through Ice Cave and getting into fights with literally everything. Devio walking this key out of Waterfall. And probably not going to see any mummies doing terrible things to him. Which is, very fortunate for him. But yeah, he needs to go turn in that TNT, because it's almost certainly going to give him a fetch quest. And right now, unless that loot is at Sarda, he's probably going to need to do some fetch questing. That's just the nature of the beast right now. But, yeah, we are kind of in a let's see what happens. Russian Bishop, meanwhile, has cleared out Ice Caves, done Volcano. He is probably going to make his way down to here soon. Because, excuse me, the alternative is to go back to Mirage, and that means getting through Mummy Country. But yeah, Devio is going to go visit Sarda first. I'm wondering if he's just forgotten that he has TNT right now. Like, there is no reason for him to be so scrupulously avoiding the Dwarf Cave unless... Alright, there we go. Yeah, he's gonna turn this Ruby because it's literally right here. And yeah, alright, so we're gonna turn the Ruby into the Titan. The Titan is fed. Let's see what he is guarding today. And for those of you who are just like, I don't remember the Titan's Cave having that roadblock in the original game. The answer is because the Titan's Cave normally doesn't have that roadblock. We moved a few tiles around to make it so that the Titan doesn't allow you in from either side. And then we incentivized that chest in this flag set because why not? We like to call that the Titan's Trove, because we got sick of letting the Titan go hungry. Okay, he does remember he has the TNT, and at this point, he is going to go check this. And it's the bottle. So that's nice. Yeah. Oh, hi, Defense Sword. Yeah, he is still looking for that ribbon. And that is gonna be big. If he can find one. And it's also gonna be big if he can't find one, because that is an advantage Russian Bishop is going to have going into Topher. But yeah. Speaking of Topher, though, I am going to step away for just a second while Devios continues to follow this path toward whatever it will ultimately lead to. So, I apologize for the silence, but I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
This is my time to take over. Don't tell Woat. But it's now Weirdo o'clock. So Russian Bishop picking up his crystal for a truckload of cash. I think that was a gold bracelet he just bought for way too much. But here, and we're not checking spells at level 7 or 8. I guess we've got Fast, we've got Temper. Probably not anything that we are really going to find that's that useful in black magic at this point. And now there's the tail. There we go, there's that promotion, there's that X-Cal, that katana for the thief. Shame we can't use both of them, but we'll have to make do. And you notice, even as weird as I am, there's only one of me talking, there are not two. And we'll head on down to Lefane, where we're going to turn in the slab and get Lupid out of our minds with the loot. So they're just rocking out down there in Lefane. So Devio is finally in go mode. I'd be very surprised if he didn't stop along the way and head down to see Bahamut, see the old dragon, walk down his incredibly long, pointlessly long corridor. Then maybe pick up. Run!
Okay, who hopped in the booth while I was gone? Weirdo? Weirdo? I see you have your mic muted again. Okay, well, y'all didn't get to enjoy blissful silence. But now you're stuck with me again. Okay, Weirdo, unmute the mic and tell me what I missed. Whatever.
Okay, so Devio went up to Gaia, freed the fairy, and got the tail. Went down to Lafane, where the Lupas were all rocking out with the loot, and stole that from him. We got Bat from Russian Bishop in the waterfall. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Alright, awesome. Thanks for covering for me. However, I would point out that while you were usurping the commentary, you have not been clicking the buttons. Get on that. There we go. Key and loot. Well, we still need to get the key lit on Russian Bishop's side, but... Alright. Thank you very much for covering for me, Weirdo, and for finding out what happened. Yeah, I realized while I'd stepped away that, yeah, the loot and the tail had to be in those last two locations. So, Devio now is geared up. Might want to go get some spells. Because he can at least put Cure 4 on that night, which may be vital. Cure 4 should be not accessible. I thought that was in slot 4 at first level. Yeah, slot 4 is Knight and Red Wizard. No, it's 1, 3, and 4 at 1, and then 1 and 3 at 3. So... yeah, we unless my memory is failing me, it should be possible for both the Knight and the Red Wizard to pick up that cure. But that's not what's happening. Devio is going to go check these keylock chests real quick. Maybe probably still looking for a ribbon. Or maybe dragon armor, just something to provide some elemental resistance before going into Temple of Fiends. The Russian Bishop is making his way down to Crack. But yeah, I cannot blame Devio for this move. He really doesn't seem to have much in the way of elemental defenses, and spoiler warning, you want those in Temple of Fiends Revisited. Yeah. The way to remember, like what is, Red Wizard will have the permissions that both the Ninja and the Knight have. Or I guess I should say, the Ninja and the Knight get the same permissions as the Red Wizard. With regard to their respective magics and levels. So, if you can remember one or the other, then you have both. Red Mage is a little bit trickier, just because Red Mage, it's like, 1 and 3 at 1 and 3, which is actually a really good way to remember that. I'll have to remember that. But yeah, Red Wizard does get that 4th slot at level 1. Look, there are very few things that I'm confident on when it comes to Final Fantasy 1. But what you do with red mages is one of them, because I personally identify as a red mage, so it's kind of one of those things that I just kind of remember. But yeah, so Devios is gearing up for this Devio is gearing up for this final push. And yeah, level 2 is super easy. Can you cast level 2 magic? Cool, you can learn it. Everything should be this simple. And I don't know where Devio is. Oh, okay, no, he's gonna go pick up more magic, probably. Needs a moment to remember how to get Provoca. That happens. And Russian Bishop is making his way through Sharknado. So, not checking all the chests that Devio did, because really doesn't need to. At the very least, he already has a ribbon, so that's nice. Is probably going to get that white shirt, though, which is also really helpful. But, yeah. The only other thing I could conceive of maybe grabbing is that level 3 saber to throw on the ninja, but we are going to continue the search for what has to be elemental defenses at this point. And then we're going to get this show on the road. So, Temple of Fiends Revisited. It is a thing. The term that has been thrown around this community since time immemorial is the Great Equalizer. Because, in case you didn't pick up on this, and this is your first experience of Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer, which, again, I apologize. The thing about Temple of Fiends Revisited, and the game in general, is it can kill you at literally any time. Just everything is capable of putting an end to you if you're not careful. And most of the things that are capable of putting an end to you are also generally going to be able to take a hit or 8. And so, when you get to Temple of Fiends Revisited, which has all of these high-end enemies that have great stats by default, even if some of those stats wind up terrible because the randomizer rolls low, a lot of them are going to wind up better because the randomizer rolls high. So, what you can very easily wind up with is a situation where Temple of Fiends basically lets you get just far enough in to give you hope, and then takes that hope, drags it back by the scruff of its neck, and locks it in a closet with terrible things like asps with stone poison. And then you get down, but you're ready this time. So you get past the bad thing, and then you find out there's a second bad thing that was just lying in wait behind it. And then you get dragged all the way back to the beginning again. And at that point, your opponent, who has been slowly making progress because they haven't been banging their head against Temple of Fiends Revisited, catches up to you, and suddenly it's a race. Now, that's not necessarily going to happen here. But it could, because, like I've pointed out, Devio does not have a ribbon. Devio does not have any kind of real, elemental defenses. He just kind of has, yeah, well, okay, he's got pro rings, so he's safe from the death element. But as far as elemental resistances go, no, keep that pro ring on. Thank you. Yeah, no. Right now he is resistant to fire and death, and he just got turned around. Okay, he has realized his mistake. He is heading back in the right direction now. Meanwhile, Russian Bishop has made some fried calamari and lights his third orb. All he has left to do is do that big round trip that Devio did. Hopefully remembering to check Waterfall now so he doesn't have to double back here later. But yeah. So, no, Russian Bishop already did the Waterfall. He doesn't need to go do the Waterfall. It's been a long seed, folks. A lot's happened. I don't know if you've noticed. But that's not our problem. Our problem is Devio is on Earth Floor, and is soon going to confront the first of the Fiendry fights. The one we lovingly refer to as Lich 2. The one we also lovingly refer to as, you know, you don't have to respect Lich until you have to respect Lich. Like, Lich 2 should go down pretty easy. Unless it doesn't. And then you have a problem. But, if nothing else, Devio is definitely getting punched a lot trying to get to Lich 2. But, makes it there, and we can start doing terrible things to the Lich. Who appears to have a decent amount of absorb based on, how those first two hits connected, but fortunately, critical hits don't care what your absorb is. Critical hits just hit, and then you are no longer able to do anything. And that is a nice hero run to get on Fire Floor. You usually prefer to see that on something like Water Floor, especially considering some of the stuff that we saw getting thrown around in Sea, but, we take it. Russian Bishop, meanwhile, having a good heads-up play, hitting Matoya from the river system instead of sailing back into the inner sea. Downside is, getting the floater from Matoya means still wind up having to sail all the way around this continent. Fortunately, it's a much shorter trip from Matoya's cave to the east coast than it is from Matoya's cave to the... Russian, that... Where are you go? What do you do? Unless, of course, you decide to sail north instead of south, in which case, any time saving from that heads-up play is going to get lost. We're going to count that as a learning experience, and move on with our life. Where are you going, Russian? Okay, you are going to go turn in that floater, but... Okay, you know what? That's a, experience thing. Because I am reasonably confident this was not faster than sailing south, but, maybe it was. Maybe Russian had the better plan there. Maybe I am the fool, but, if he joins us for an interview, I'm gonna ask him if that was intentional or if he just decided to. But for the moment, he is now going to go turn in his TNT, remembering that he never did that. So he'll probably get his bottle, get his stuff from the ferry, which in this case turned out to be... not actually written down by tracker MG Weirdo. But if I recall correctly, he said that was the tail and LaFame was rocking out with balloons, so we know where everything is. But anyway, Russian Bishop gets his bottle. He'll probably go ahead and check these chests just in case there's something like a second ribbon or a Mazda here. And Devio is locked in combat with Kraken 2, aka K Honda, aka the Punchinator, aka oh god, oh god, oh god, my healer is dead. Case in point, oh god, oh god, oh god, Devio's healer is dead. So, who likes solo night strats? Because we have solo night strats now because of that nuclear. And his knight didn't actually gain any levels to be able to cast Cure 4, so... oh, we're in trouble. Chuckles, I'm in danger, .git. And that is a dazzle to stun the fighter. Yeah, I think at this point it's faster to just butcher these things with your Excalibur. And yeah, they are dead. The fighter gains a level. That level does no good because he cannot restore MP. Fortunately, he has barely enough heal potions to be able to patch up before Chaos. In an ideal world. And he's gonna need them. Because that Tiamat came out swinging, and that Tiamat also is covered in Absorb. Has the Quad X. Fortunately, Devio did keep that Pro Ring on the fighter, otherwise that would have been a wipe. But this is the exact situation that you have to worry about. And Tia has no HP. The knight gets through, is going to be able to patch up. Hopefully, we'll be able to keep that HP through to Chaos. 7 heal pots left. Gets jumped by a pack of worms. They do not hit very hard. And yeah, Devio is just going to need to take this fight. And that's unfortunate because he's probably not going to have full HP for Chaos. Okay, Devio may not live long enough to fight Chaos. And nope. Alright. Yeah, that's a situation where possibly dropping that defense would have helped, because those things were only getting one swing. So... Devio is going to go back to that mage fighter tile that he ground on way back, and he is going to at least probably pick up enough levels to have those Cure 4s for that knight, because that would have been the difference maker. Because that at least would have allowed him to patch up. But Russian Bishop gets the tail, is going to go pick up this loot, and... presumably it's going to go clash change, and we're going to see what happens. I mean, Russian Bishop also still has to go light the air, so this is not... Devio has time for this run. Apologies if you could hear the drinking noises, but I don't know if y'all have noticed. I've done a lot of talking in the last 2 hours. But regardless, Russian Bishop now has his ability to actually get into Topher once he has the orbs lit. So, what he needs to do is get over to Mirage Tower, climb it, and see if that one ribbon is going to be the difference maker for him in clearing this seed. I do agree, Rojo. I think it may behoove Devio for the sake of expediency. I would maybe consider doing a two-man with the Knight and the Red Wizard, because you need that Red Wizard's life 2s potentially to get through. So you're going to want HP and magic defense on both of them, I feel like, especially without a ribbon. Now, hopefully Russian Bishop does check Cardia to pick up that Catan and that Maza, or not Maza, that X-Cal. Because he's going to want both of those. And honestly, there might be an argument to be made of maybe keeping the Ninja and the Red Wizard up instead, since you're going to want that Katana to kill Chaos. It's not a very good argument, because you always want the Knight to have the most health it possibly can, because the Knight tends to survive a lot of things, and actually has M defense, unlike Thief/Ninja. So, we'll see what happens there. Devio, I think, hit level 25 and feels comfortable enough to take his earnings and get out. Meanwhile, Russian Bishop is arranging his inventory to reflect his current gear situation, since he hasn't dug out the rest of the Cardia island to find out that, oh, all of my good weapons were here. Hopefully he does, because he really that X-Cal for some of these fiend fights. So we are gonna see what happens. Russian is airborne and is leaving the X-Cal and the Katana behind. I don't blame him, because he could have had this airship like an hour ago. Almost an hour and a half ago, because we found that canoe very early on, and then from that point forward, yeah, that basically we've had access to the floater for a very long time. And I do agree, Rojo, Devio wants a ribbon. Like, levels can go a long way to bridging that gap, but unless you have a black belt, you're never going to reach a point where a want to have. I think at this point, though, we know that the ribbons have to be either in Floating Fortress or Mermaid side. We've seen everything else. And yeah, you're right. I did forget that we do know. Of course, he's not going to go down there, so it's a moot point. He's probably, let's see, based on where he's flying, I'm guessing he's going to go. Yeah, he's going to go to Mermaids. Hey, Canuck. So, I think, Weirdo, that Devio did already clear out all of C, or at least all Kraken side in C, so this is a Mermaid side check. And yeah, there is also the chests on Carry 2's. Firefloor has a couple of very accessible chests just south of the Carry 2 tile that you often do not see people check. But in a desperate situation, it's not that many extra steps out of your way to check those chests. No, he did actually check the southwest chest. I remember because he poked counter tiles he could. Presumably looking for a grind that wasn't mage stuff in Volcano. So, he does have some chests on this side, but I'm pretty sure Devio did see everything on Kraken's side. So... But yeah, every box he opens that's not a ribbon is another opportunity for Russian Bishop to close this gap and get into Temple of Fiends Revisited before Devio can make his redot. And yeah, he is once again contemplating equipping the power bonk and then realizing that he needs that pro ring way more than the power bonk. Not the least of which because the pro ring's better armor anyway. Now he does find an Aegis and a Mazza though, so he is alright, so if he finds a dragon armor in here, then Devio will at least have the poor man's ribbon on that fighter. But yeah, so we have 2 more chests to open here. Russian basically has the same levels as Devio without the grind, so... And that is an ice shield. That's not going to be very much help. So, yeah. Yeah, Devio is now going to check these chests before mermaids. If he doesn't see anything here, I think that confirms our other 2 ribbons are both in the Floating Fortress. Because Russian Bishop opened all the boxes in Earth. Devio has opened all the boxes in Sea. We've seen everything in the mine. Oh, actually, I guess the ribbons could be in Marsh still. So... Did I actually say that? I'm telling you, I just kind of go into a trance when I do these commentary things like this. And I honestly don't know what I'm saying half the time. Words just kind of happen and they vaguely resemble the correct things to say. But yeah, they could be at Marsh, they could be in Topher. While the logic will keep key items from landing in Topher, ribbons are not key items. They're nice to have. You really, really, really want to have them. But they're not required. So... Russian Bishop also drawing that War Mech fight, so he presumably took the same step route through that Devio did. He is better equipped for this, so we might actually see him get through this fight. Plus he actually has that katana. That katana is going to do work. He does need to fast up the ninja, though. He didn't pick up fast. Why didn't he pick up fast? He really, really needs fast. Excuse me. But, yeah, So, Russian Bishop, if you watch this VOD back, I know that Nuke and Quad X are both really good spells, but you need it fast. If you don't go back and pick up fast, between now and when this broadcast ends, you really needed fast. Because I assure you, you are going to run into a problem in Topher where you desperately needed fast. No, Russian got a... Oh, you're right! No, he didn't! He skipped out on the chest in Cardia. Thank you, Rojo. Yeah, you're right. He didn't go into any of the Cardia islands that had the katana or the X-Cal. So, yeah, you're right. He doesn't have the katana, which really makes his lack of fast. Yeah, so for those of you playing along at home, fast is the most important spell in the game, or among the most important. You don't necessarily need Nuke. You don't necessarily need Life 2. You necessarily need Tier 4. You almost always want fast, because fast doubles the number of swings you get with a weapon. And that is imperative, because magic has a limit. Nuke will never do more than 100 HP of damage. Ice 3, if something is vulnerable to ice, can do like in the mid 400s, maybe even into the 5 or 600s. A fasted character with a good sword, plenty of saber and temper stacked on them, will break 1,000 damage under the right, like easily, until you get into the higher scaling for enemies. Russian does have all 4 orbs lit, and is presumably going to make an attempt on Temple of Fiends with a fence and a sun sword. As beefy as that Tier 2 is, I don't know if it's going to end well, unfortunately. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's one of those things. There's a lot of problems that you can solve by having enough casts of fast to go around. But if you have the option of being able to cast fast, you need to pick it up. It doesn't matter what else is at that spell level. There is a point in the seed where fast is better than any option otherwise. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And while that was happening, Lich demanding respect. That red wizard was the only source of life that Devio has, and the wizard is dead now. So yeah, Devio, not off to a great start in this second attempt. Russian Bishop, meanwhile, going through the trouble of picking up a lot of things that aren't fast. He does at least have temper, so that will help. Oh, Carry 2 had Tier 4. I don't think we saw that last time. And Nuclear! Somehow Devio's party survives the Nuclear. So, you know, kudos on that front. But, yeah. This is a situation, because, you know what also went down with that red mage? Any hope of being able to quick heal. In some ways, having two party members get beat up badly is worse than having one get beaten up really badly, because that just eats up more of your time and potions. But Devio is at least back to Kraken 2. He knows that he just needs to hit hard, hit fast, Cobra Kai. Russian really... Well, while that was all happening, I'm guessing Russian did not return to Provoca to pick up fast on anyone. So that is... because, as we can see, this Temple of Fiends is not very friendly. Devios probably should fast the ninja if he has the slots to spare. Well, I mean, not now, obviously. That ninja is not going to be doing too terribly much. But, okay, yeah, now the ninja's dead. But, yeah, that katana with fast, that katana can do a lot of work very quickly. So, it's definitely something that generally want to get swings on. Excuse me. Anyway, Devio gets through this in much better shape than last time. He at least will be able to fast that knight for the fight with Tiamat. Meanwhile, Russian Bishop is making... He's also going to open these two free boxes. And... yeah. So... a little bit of extra XP for Devio going to Tia 2, which potentially will help survive it. Has to burn a couple of heals he really can't afford to lose, but... alright, he is going to sacrifice the Black Wizard in a desperate bid to keep this train rolling. Yeah, that's right. You need to fast that knight now. Get that defense going. Never mind that fast is never happening. But gonna go ahead and start bonking. We know that Tia doesn't have a lot of swings this time, so those two defense casts should be enough to keep the knight fairly safe. Couple of bonks and terminated. All right. This is a much better situation for Devio. Even just having that Black Wizard eat the punch was good enough to keep this knight. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. I feel bad for laughing, but I really don't. Okay. So, Russian Bishop, making his first Temple of Fiends Revisited attempt, has a ribbon, does not have fast. So, we're going to see how this goes for him. We know that Lich has a little bit of respect demanding going on, but I believe Russian is keeping that ribbon on the red wizard. So hopefully that will be the difference maker. Okay, Bane takes out the ninja and the black wizard. Fortunately, oh yeah, I think, did Russian Bishop also find that Aegis, that Devio found? No, he didn't. Or did he? I remember where the Aegis shield was. Because I don't. Oh, mermaids. Okay, so, yeah, no, Russian Bishop just got lucky that one of his non-rib did eat that Bane, but he has plenty of life too to go around. He's got everyone back on. Went ahead and killed Lich. He is on his way to carry, and we know that every single fiend in Topher is hilariously dangerous. So, yeah, this can only go well. And yeah, I forgot that Devio found Maza. Was swinging his Maza, wasn't he? That is on his knight, right? Because, like, at this point, he just needs to concentrate firepower on either the knight or ninja. Yeah, I remember that it was in the same room as Aegis, now that I remember that the Aegis was at Mermaids. Russian gets nucleared, but everyone stays on their feet. I guess in this situation, not having to think about conserving spells too fast is at least helping Russian a little bit, because with his lack of, like, melee firepower, he needs these spells. And fortunately for him, these fiends did not really have that much HP to go around. So it's an interesting situation for both of these runners, because Devio has the offense, but not the defense. So he's trying to balance it out with levels, because HP and M defense can go a long way to not needing those not needing a ribbon. Russian Bishop, meanwhile, has something of a defense, but skipped the chest that actually had the good weapons. Excuse me. So, we'll see what's more valuable here. The ability to hit hard, or the ability to take a punch. My money's on the ability to take a punch, but we'll see. Yeah, for the record, that coughing is not the result of any illness. That coughing is the result of a man talking non-stop. 2 hours and 20 minutes, for those of you who are joining me. So, yeah, my throat is unhappy with every choice I have made. So, regardless, yeah, Russian Bishop, carefully contemplating his thoughts, throwing out a YOLO Bane. Not going to be very effective. The Fiend refights, they do not have elemental weaknesses, and they also do not have low enough M defense to really matter for anything short of, like, maybe Brack on carry 2. Unless you have X for primed and can just, like, strip your opponent's defenses. So, Devio, meanwhile, continuing to grind on this fighter mage top. Russian loses his Black Wizard Kraken. The good news is we know that this Kraken didn't really have much HP. So he should be able to pick the Black Wizard up. I think he's got 1 life 2. Yeah, he's got 1 life 2 left. So, fortunately, his Thief is still alive, which will be crucial for actually getting to see Chaos. Whether or not he'll be able to survive Chaos is another story. But the good news is this, though. If memory serves, there is one punches-only script between the 4 refights, Chaos, and Warmech. We don't know what Warmech is packing in terms of a script, but at this point, it's a coin toss whether Warmech or Chaos landed the, you know what, forget it, I'm just gonna hit things script. So, if this is a punchy Chaos, or at least a punch-happy Chaos, Russian could pull this out with a defense sword in his fighter's hands, just because he'll be able to very quickly, or his ninja's hands, depends on who survives this fight, and who survives the run to Chaos immediately thereafter, because a punch-happy Chaos is a Chaos that you can just, what's the word I'm looking for here? Defense up and then punch repeatedly until death. But regardless, Russian Bishop is through, has all 4 party members on his feet, on their feet, does not see the fight after Tiamat that has gotten Devio both times. He is going to be able to punch through all of this. So, I think the strategy here is you hand that white shirt to your ninja, you hand the defense sword to your fighter, put them both in the back, and none of those things happened. But yeah, you definitely defense that fighter, and start tempering away. This is where, incidentally, fast would be really nice. So, let's see what this Chaos has in store. At the very least, does not have a tremendous amount of absorb. Really need to fast someone with that ninja Russian, preferably the fighter. You need as many hits as you can land. Going ahead and lowering Chaos's speed. Yeah, okay, so Chaos does at least skill, but is at least getting really good rolls on the nuke. Chaos has a lot of magic defense, so being able to get more than one, you know, plus 200 nuke out is a blessing. Fortunately, Chaos also has at least 2 shots of ink, which is valuable for actually getting the characters to continue fighting. Yeah, no, because Kraken 2 has ink, Chaos potentially has ink. Chaos also has Blizzard and Blaze. It's one of those things until we actually see them it's hard to speculate on what they'll do to address the question in chat, but since he's going to be making the Topher dive, I'll be surprised if if Russian pulls this out, I'll be surprised if Devio doesn't at least make one more attempt just so he can see Chaos. Because the thing is with him actually having the endgame weapon fast at his disposal, he should be able to get through this Chaos ribbon or also, Russian really needs to just be stacking those tempers up. and that's something I'm going to need to ask him about if he realized that he needed to be using temper. That temper was. I do agree with the comment in chat, pondering if maybe he has gotten temper and fast mixed up. So, we'll see what happens. He first has to actually finish this chaos fight out. He is at least getting a lot of good licks in, despite having just a, a defense sword and a sun sword at his disposal. In terms of, like, weapons. Making good use of Lock 2 to get more hits in on Chaos. And just going to continue peppering him with everything he's got. Blaze goes out. Everyone's still standing. Cure gets the fighter back to his feet. Ninja swings with that sun. Fighter lands the hit, and Russian has managed to get out of this chaos fight. Whew. Alright, so... Alright. So, Russian will be joining us shortly. We'll see shortly. Right, so Devio, kind of going through the same thing we've seen before, but those extra levels are going to come in handy. So, yeah, basically, Devio should get through this pretty easily. He's got the levels now, he's got the knowledge. Even without a ribbon, his characters will save enough to... Yeah, sorry, explaining to Russian how to actually, like, get into the interview. Because we have to pull him in from elsewhere in the voice chat. Russian, GG!
Hey, thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you just fine. So, first things first. Why didn't you pick up fast?
It just did not register in my head at all. I honestly completely missed it, and I was like thinking it was higher levels, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go for it.
All right. Because yeah, you probably could have gotten through that chaos fight a little bit easier if you'd had fast, and also been more liberal in stacking tempers up, especially with the swords you had. But yeah, you actually had a come from behind against Devio.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he hit Topher while I believe you still had 2 orbs unlit. The problem is, he never found that ribbon that you... So...
Oh.
Yeah, so he kept running into things that took out his red wizard, and so he's had to keep leaving to go grind to have the magic defense needed to push through all of the nastiness the Temple of Visited has to offer. His advantage, though, is he actually did find Excal, Katana, and Maza while looking for ribbons. He never found any ribbons, but he did find all those other very nice things. As far as we can tell, the ribbons, incidentally, were either in Floating Fortress or Marsh Cave. Neither of y'all checked more than the reed chests in Floating Fortress, and y'all didn't even sniff Marsh Cave.
Yeah, Marsh Cave wasn't even on my radar when I was in go mode. I wasn't going to go looking around because what killed me a couple times was just going digging for chests, and I was like, I better gamble at this point because I knew I was behind, or I felt like I was behind the entire time, especially since I wiped in Earth Cave early 3 or 4 times, and it was like, yeah, I got to make a play now.
Yeah, it was the multiple dives in Cave that kind of gave Devio the chance to pull ahead, because he went to Volcano first and found the fighter tile in Armory, and so he grounded to like level 15 there, just nuking until he ran out of spells, going out and healing the house, going back in. So by the time he actually got to Earth Cave, he was fine in terms of being able to fight his way through. Which means he also didn't get to find out all the fun things that mummies had.
Yeah, those were some nasty mummies.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was going through I cannot think right now. When I was going through ordeals, I got that Opal bracelet, and they pulled off that nuke on me at the very end. My jaw just dropped because all I was seeing was them just constantly healing, heal 2 times 9. And it was like, great, that was like 5 minutes just going through the first round.
Yeah, he did at least see plenty of heal 2s to balance it out, but yeah, I don't think he ever actually saw the news. He is at Chaos, though. He does have the experience now of having gone through Topher several times. He also did actually pick up Fast, so... And you did have Fast on your ninja. I think you just kind of glazed over it.
Yeah, and I actually went in without any spell charges on my Knight or Ninja, so all my spells that I went and picked up were for nothing.
Yeah. Attempts to save his Black Wizard, and Chaos just punches him down. But he does have all of his party members fasted, and he has actual in-game swords on them. So Devio is probably going to be joining us very shortly, because really Chaos didn't have that much to threaten with. He kind of hit all right, but he didn't have much in the way of absorb, and skills were pretty much just kind of mid-range, and I don't think you ever saw anything worse than Blaze out of Chaos.
No, I didn't. Chaos didn't have any really nasty things. That was all the fiends before him ended up taking those. So he wasn't too bad. After I dropped a couple defense swords and bruises, I was pretty well off physically, but he ended up blinding me halfway through that fight, and I was just missing constantly for a good portion of it.
Yeah. Probably using the power gauntlet a little bit more liberal probably helped mitigate the dark.
I didn't even get the power gauntlet.
I thought you did.
No, I did not.
All right. Well, let's. All right, we got Devio in here. Devio, GG.
Thanks.
Hey, GG there.
Oh yeah, GG to you. Yeah.
So that ribbon was in Earth too, for the record. It was in the room that's guarded by Earth Elementals in Vanilla.
Okay.
Russian found it. So that's the only ribbon we saw. So as far as we can tell, The other ribbons were either in Floating Fortress or in Marsh Cave, because that was the only two places neither of you opened boxes.
Yeah. I was really regretting not having opened some stuff up in Floating Fortress.
Well, it's one of those. Go ahead.
I was just, expecting a greed chest to pay out here and there, but I was like just astonished by the lack of like end game gear that I had, relatively speaking. And I was like, well, give it a try anyway, see how far we can get, at least learn what I need to, do.
If it makes you feel any better, you didn't find the ribbon, but Russian, what were the swords your fighter and ninja were swinging at the end there?
Defense sword, ice sword, and the sun sword.
Yeah.
Well, that could be better.
Yeah.
Like, there were two katanas in the Cardia Islands, which was
along with
interesting.
Excal.
Oh yeah, Excal was there too, and then Masamune I found somewhere.
Mermaids.
I can't. Mermaids. Okay.
It was you found it alongside the Aegis and Mermaids. So.
Yeah, I skipped the mermaids and the islands. All I did was promote, and then I got out of Dodge there. So
Well, I wiped once, and I was like, okay, well, maybe just some levels will help. And I forget exactly how it went down. My brain was frazzled at the end there. There were a bunch of times where I was like rushing a little too quickly and making a lot of mistakes, but
yeah. So, kind of a question for both of you. You both kind of held off on turning in that TNT. Was that just because you were kind of hoping you'd find the key somewhere and then go do that?
I straight up
that
forgot.
was my thought there.
But yeah, it turned out to be
Bottle.
Yeah, and Bottle led to Tail, which I figured both of you really wanted.
Yeah, I was getting like a bunch of levels while and I was like level 20 without the upgrade or the class change, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna get these spells that I want, and there was Cure 4 available, and
yeah.
But at a certain point, I was just like, to heck with this, and just grinded to level 32.
Yeah, no, I mean that's the solution if you don't have a ribbon, is count on having the health and magic defense to get through the things that you would really want a ribbon for.
Right. Although that second dive that I did, I like getting the red wizard killed by a Bane spell was just the worst.
Oh,
I had that happen in practice too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just sometimes Lich 2 forces you to respect him a little bit. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other things that I noticed. I'm going to be honest, and when y'all go back and watch the VOD, there are parts where I just kind of go into a commentary trance and just don't have any recollection of what I just talked over. So
I mean, that's how I was playing personally.
Fair
like,
enough.
I mean, early my first Topher dive was at like 130 or something around there, and I was like, okay, I seem to have routed pretty well, but I'm going in here kind of with bare bones stuff. Maybe I'll be lucky. And it like with a little bit more luck, I think it would have turned out. Like had my knight been able to run after Tiamat, I might have. That happened twice. My knight died after Tiamat.
Yeah. So
just the knight.
One thing that chat did point out during that, you probably should have just defensed up after the first couple of run failures, just to reduce the amount of damage you were taking, especially with how low you were running on heal potions.
Yeah, that is reasonable.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking, like, what's the chance that I wouldn't be able to run again,
Fairly decent. Like, the thing about knights are, I think at the highest they have like a 60% run chance.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, after a few turns, you're going to be able to run. The problem is you only really need to lose that coin toss twice before you're in a bad position.
Yeah.
Which I know you now are aware. I don't need to tell you that, but
Oh no, I am.
yeah,
the defense sword didn't come to mind. That would have been a good idea.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things that's just something you learn by doing. You don't necessarily no one is born thinking, "Oh yeah, the defense sword." Russian. I do have a question for you. You did have a very heads up docking at the river outside Matoy's to go turn the crystal, but why did you sail north instead of south to go actually get your airship?
Because I just kind of went right up north because right at the tip there, it brings you right to that river, and I just some reason in my head it looked like it was closer. It was probably really not after all, but I just had a quick glance at my map and it was like, all right, go north, and it put me right there at the mouth of that opening right there, so I could get my floater or airship.
Yeah, that was just kind of a thing I noticed with your routing there. And in that same vein, Devio, you're routing from Elfland to Crescent Lake and back. I noticed that you tend to go through the swamp rather than the river. Is that just because you prefer to deal with the encounters on the land rather than the river encounters?
From Elfland to which place?
Crescent Lake.
Crescent Lake. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't gone through overworld routing a whole lot, and so I kind of am just making it up as I go along. And
Well,
I have a map open next to me, but I will sometimes just start going and before thinking. So
yeah, no, I mean that's fair, but just for future reference, if you're
Mhm.
coming from Elfland or going from Crescent Lake, the river that is due that is basically due east of Elfland, due west of Crescent, does link up, and that's generally faster for going from town to town. Now, the route
Right.
you have been taking, going south once you get to that river area and going past the desert, that
Oh,
is
okay. Yeah, I see
the
what you mean.
fastest overland route if you get the floater in the Elfland area, and already have the canoe. That's the fastest way to pick up the airship, is to go east of Elfland, head south through the swamp, and I'll put you right there. So don't forget about that route, because that is very helpful if, you say, get the floater from Astos and already have the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why I do that is that one's just hard coded in my brain from playing the game too much casually. So
Yeah.
if
No.
I can just unlearn that at some point.
Yeah. No, but it's one of those things. It's not a massive time difference. It's just one of those things where, in terms of just step routing, you do save a few steps taking the river as opposed to taking the overland. But it's not the end of the world. I just wasn't sure if you were aware that you can take the river to do that. Let's see. I'm checking basically, I kind of dictated notes to MG Weirdo while y'all were racing, and I'm just making sure I kind of hit all those high points. So yeah, I think it's everything that struck out to me as Weirdo. Write this down for. Yeah, no. Overall, I mean, I know I'm saying a lot of things you did wrong, but
Oh
I know
no, that's
yeah.
I'm new to racing. Before 2 weeks ago, I had not tried to play this game fast. I basically just kind of took it at my own pace and played casually before then. I'd done it a bunch of times, but yeah.
Yeah, that's about the same here.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, the thing to take away from this is, in spite of being relatively new, y'all both
Mhm.
ran pretty good races overall. Like, all the things that you kind of hit your head against were things that probably would have stymied a lot of runners, because they were things that you really couldn't do much about. The werewolves with their horribleness, the mummies with their horribleness, just the way the seed expected you to route things. Um, you
Yeah,
know,
I mostly avoided the werewolves and was kind of surprised when they had the what was it damage poison?
Quad X.
Quad X.
Oh, Quad X. Okay, I don't think I even saw that.
Yeah, the werewolves were not very nice. Nor
They had cremate and Quad X, so it was double whammy.
but
Oh,
yeah,
so did you just try to do Earth first?
Yeah,
Ah,
I wiped like 3 times in Earth, and I ended up going to, Crescent and then went right up to, Desert so I could, try to grind there a little bit, open up those free chests
mhm,
'cause, I end up getting you got Chime over at, Crescent.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
I was trying to grind there, and I went to, Ordeals and wiped there, and I went right back to Earth. At that
oh
point,
man.
I was, like, expecting you to have a dot done, like, within the next 25 minutes.
Uh,
That's
yeah,
so far behind.
in another world, maybe because it took me like an hour to finish Topher or something ridiculous like that.
yeah,
I didn't get my first orblet till the hour mark.
I
yeah,
had the first orbit maybe just before 40 minutes or something.
yeah, guys. I have a sneaking suspicion our restreamer would like to go to bed, so I'm going to go ahead and y'all's
Fair.
final thoughts, and I would suggest going back and watching the VOD, probably on Randomania 2, just so you can see kind of when chat was chiming in with things that I might not have brought up. Um,
Oh yeah, I'll for sure watch it.
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, so
That's on the to-do list tomorrow.
all right. But yeah, so any final thoughts though before we go ahead and wrap things?
Love that fighter grind tile.
All right. Yeah, we noticed that much. Russian, what about you?
I just wanna shout out to, Nochibato and, Wilkliosis. They have been helping me out, with, kinda, like, giving me tips and all that and kinda taking me under their wing a little bit, so I just wanna throw a little shout out to them. Thank you for all the help they've given me.
All
And,
right.
GG
Yeah,
there, my friend, and, good game.
yeah, GG, and thanks for commentating, and thanks to the Restream team and Tracker
Yes,
and everything.
yes,
Well,
thank you all. You all, you're all the, magic behind this pretty much. It would just be a boring, race if there was no commentary, or no one would see it if there was a no restreamer. So, thank you very much for everything you all.
and thank you to Random Mania for letting us kind of squeeze things into the schedule as quickly as we can. So, in our gratitude, we're going to go ahead and give them back their channel and let things kind of roll from there. So, thanks to y'all for running. Thanks to everyone for coming out, and thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you tomorrow. And I would summarize what we were looking at for tomorrow, but the answer is lots. If you are interested in catching more of this action tomorrow, click that Discord link and tune in, because that's going to be your best bet for finding out what the crap is going to happen. So until then, see y'all later, everyone. Take care. Good night.